Okay, folks, sorry about that. I'm on page 222 now, and we're going to work with axes and grid lines. Okay, so on page 222, step 1, double-click the vertical axis of the projected revenue and expenses chart. So we're actually going to go up here to the projected revenue and expenses chart. So we're going to do a little bit of work with this. We're going to click on this vertical axis here, so the 2 million all the way down to whatever at the bottom left here. We want to double click on this. It brings up the axis options, and in the bound section we want to change the maximum to basically 1.75 million or whatever, 1750000. And that's going to be in the maximum of the bounds. Press enter, and then you can see that it's going to give you let me give you a little bit better. So it's going to give you kind of a scale that works well with those blue bars there for the total revenue. So after you press the enter key, in the Unix section, we want to click in the major box. So we want to click in the major box, and then we want to enter 250000, press enter. And so we're actually changing the units there so that it actually makes more sense. And it goes from basically nothing all the way up to $1.75 million. Okay, so once you have that altered there, we're still in the projected revenue and expenses, and we want to click the chart elements, which is the plus sign. So I've still got the chart elements. We've got the chart projected revenue and expenses, chart elements, and we want to point to the grid lines right there, and then we want to click on the right arrow next to it, and then click on the primary major vertical. So we want a primary major vertical. Okay, so we had the horizontal, but now we added the verticals as well. And then press escape to get out of all that. And let's format the chart columns. I'm going to make this a little bit wider here, okay? Format the chart columns. So make sure you've still got the projected revenue and expenses chart. So click in a white area there. In the format pane, click the axis options arrow. Format pane, click the axis options arrow. So if you don't know what those are, axis options arrow. Okay, so basically if you double click on the axis, the vertical axis over here, it's going to bring open the format axis. And if we click on the arrow to the right of the axis options beneath the format axis, you're going to see you've got some options here. So we want to click on the series total revenue. Okay. So if you click on the series total revenue, you can see some little dots show up around all the blue ones in your screen, and those would be the revenue. In the format pane, we want to click on the series options. Okay, so series options to display the list of options. Wait a minute. That's the vertical bars beneath the series option. Whew. Wow, lots of series options. So if you click on the series options, drag the gap width slider until 150%. Okay, I'm going to type it because that just makes more sense to me. And once I do that, it accepts my 150% in the gap width box. So it changed a little bit of that spacing there. And if you look in the picture on page 225, you'll see that. Okay, so if you select, if you look at page 225 at the bottom, formatting data markers to display and format the line chart data markers. So scroll down the worksheet to display the cash flow. So we want the cash flow. All right, so that's the last chart that we actually added here. Double click the line to change the format. Double click on the line to change the format. And then double click the line to change the format pane to the format data series pane. Okay, so I double clicked on the line, I clicked on it, and then I double clicked on it. We want to click on the fill and line. And once you click on the fill and line, make sure you've got all those little dots there. So I've got my fill and line. You can choose to display it. So I want to click on marker, which is over here. Woohoo! Click on marker options, which is here, and then click on automatic. So it'll automatically display markers, and then click on fill, and then click solid fill down here, and then click on the fill color button a little further down, and we want to find the white background 1 theme color. White background 1 theme color, the first one at the top. Once you've done that, press escape, and we should be out of that. And you can see that you've got some data markers that are there, those little dots, those white dots that are there. And it just shows you basically where each of the years is going to be located. So bottom of page 226, click the line in the line chart. Okay, click the line in the line chart to select the entire data series, including all of the data markers. Okay, so I clicked it once. Click the last data marker to select it. So it's this guy right here. And I can see I've got 4 kind of bluish little dots around the white dot. Click the Chart Elements button right yonder. And then click the Data Labels checkbox. Data Labels checkbox to insert a check mark. Click the Data Labels arrow, okay, and then do a data callout. The data labels change to a data callout box that also include the category as well. So a little bit of all of the data is going to be showing up there. And that's probably the most relevant. And if you're trying to highlight something, that would be a great way to do it. If these numbers were bad, you might not want to highlight this particular one. Okay, so click on the Label Options button. So the Label Options button over here. And let's look at this here. Okay, sorry about that. I'm on step 5 at the bottom of page 226. Double click the data callout to select it. So this is the data callout. So if I double click it, they want us to choose the Label Options button over here on the right, these 3 vertical bars. So once you click the Label Options, then click the Label Options again beneath that, and click the category name, and then press the Escape key. Okay? And let's do that one more time. So we come over here, we click this guy and this guy, and they want us to deselect the category name, not to check it. But that's how you can make it come and make it go. All right? So depending upon what it is that you want to show up there, that's how you'd want that to actually look. And then I think the other thing, I might have messed something up here over on the left-hand side, but all these year 1, 2, 3s, so we can probably get rid of all these data callouts for all of these things, but there's not that many of them, and I'm going to choose to leave mine in there just to show exactly what's what. So anyway, You can leave them, you can add them, whatever you want. I tend to add a little bit more. This is a chart that kind of doesn't have a lot on it right now, so I'm going to select to leave mine. So that's the cash flow. Okay, I'm on the bottom of page 227. I want to change the fill colors of the chart and plot areas. So we'll scroll the worksheet up and select the projected revenue and expenses. Projected revenue and expenses. It's right here. Okay. Projected revenue and expenses. On the ribbon, click the Chart Tools Format. So I know that I've got some tools. There's the format tools for the chart. And in the current selection group, so I want to find the current selection group on the left-hand side, click the Chart Elements arrow, okay? And we want to choose the chart area. So this allows us to pick certain elements of that chart. So if I wanted something else, those are my options. So in the Shape Styles group, all right, Shape Styles group, it's going to be right here. So kind of in the center. And your menus may look different depending upon how wide your monitor is. But in the Shape Styles group, we want to click on the Shape Fill button. And once we click on the Shape Fill button, go to Gold Accent 4 Theme, second row, 8th column. Second row, 8th column. Right? That looks like it. And it matches the one to the left of it. Great. I don't care what it is as long as it looks good. In the current selection group, click the Chart Elements arrow. Chart Elements arrow. Okay, this is our arrow. And click the Plot area. The Plot area. Okay, so if you notice what happens there, it picks the rectangle kind of inside of our chart. That's just the background of the data itself that's going to be there. We want to change the fill color of the plot area to white. So the fill color, okay, shape fill is going to be white. That looks pretty cool. All right, so if you flip over to page 228, yours should be looking similar to that guy. As long as it's close. Don't really care. Again, the idea here is that you get a sense of how this stuff works. So format a breakdown of the business expenses column chart and cash flow line worksheet. So select the breakdown of business expenses column chart. So I select it in a white area. Select the chart area. Okay, so I got the chart area. And then set the fill color of the chart area to gold, blah, 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 blah. Okay, looks like it's that one. Okay. Select the plot area, and then we want to do the same thing there. Make it white though. Okay, white. Ba-dum. So, they're looking real similar here. Next, you'll add vertical grid lines to the chart. And we're going to do that in the Chart Tools Design tab. So on the ribbon, click the Chart Tools Design. Okay, I'm in there. Boom. And in the Chart Layout group, so find the Chart Layout group on the left-hand side. Add a chart element. Scroll down to the Chart Elements. Point to Grid Lines. And then we want to have primary, major, vertical. So primary, major, vertical. And then once we do that, you can kind of see how those are going to work over here. All right, so again, we've got our left, we've got our vertical and horizontal grid lines in here, and looks like I might have missed something over here. Axis options, bounds. So in the image there, in the picture on page 229, looks like they've got increments of 200,000 and not the 100,000 that I have. So units, minor, major, and you know what? I'm going to leave it because it doesn't really matter. This chart is actually more detailed than theirs is, and I think it actually does a pretty good job of representing this. Okay, so I could see that. If this were a clumsy chart and it was just stuffed full of data, I might actually bother with it. But I'm going to leave it because that's my judgment. So I'm in the cash flow line chart, and I want to click the white background here. And I think it's probably about time for most of you to actually begin making judgment calls for things like this. Sometimes following the directions is great, but if you don't, it's a good plan to have some way to explain why you took the course of action you did. And oftentimes those are the people who get promoted anyway. So think for yourself. Make good choices. All right, so cash flow. I'm in, go to the projected cash flow worksheet. Okay, over here, not the, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm getting a little slap happy here. Okay, so in the projected cash flow worksheet, we want to get lines B4 through L5. So B4 through L5, that's different than before. And then we want to get B23 through L23. So press the Control key, B23 through L23. So I've got my selection made. I want to go to the charts group, so insert. I want to get recommended charts. I want to click all charts. I want to click combo down at the bottom here, because that is an option for me. And then click on custom combination. So there's a custom combination, and that's going to be the selection on the very right at the top. And for the cases produced and sold, okay, cases produced and sold data series down here at the bottom, we want to click the chart type arrow, and we want to click on line. Okay, line. Okay, so there's line, stack line, 100% stacked, line with second line. We just want the line. And then click the secondary axis. Okay, secondary axis. And we want to, for the net income, we want to click the chart type arrow, secondary axis here. And then here, for the net income, we want to click the chart type arrow and click the clustered column. Okay, so that's clustered, that's stacked, that's 100% stacked, so we want the first one. And if you look at the picture on page 231, you should see kind of what they've got there. So, look at the image. I've got a checkbox in the secondary axis on the cases produced and sold, but no checkbox there. Winds up in the wrong place, right? Oh well. So we'll click the styling here, and we want to select style 8. Okay, last one in the style chart. And then we want to move it. So we've got our chart selected. We want to move the chart. We want to choose the object in. We want to click on overview, click on OK. It moves it to the wrong spot. We got to move it down. I click in somewhere in the chart area. We are going to go down. Okay, so we've only really got one spot to put this. I'm going to press Control or Alt. Have it snap to wherever. Not sure that worked very well, but okay. I'm going to get these about the same. Get this one about the same. Okay, they look pretty close. So I've got my chart. I don't have a title on it, but let's fix that. So we just moved it over into the overview, F45 through whatever, M58, okay, something like that. change the title of the combination chart to Sales Projections. And then you remember the magic trick here. Click on the cash flow guy, click the format painter, and then take it over and click your paintbrush on the sales projections. Quick, way quick. Much faster. Don't do it the old way. Remove the legend chart element from the combination chart. So the legend, where's the legend going to be? So this is the legend. Okay, so our legend chart from the combination chart. So if we simply delete that, so I highlight it, press delete, looks like it's gone at this point. Okay, add a primary major vertical grid line to the chart. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to add the primary major vertical. I'm going to click the plus sign to the right of the chart. Let's see, it wants grid lines. I'm going to go to the arrow. I'm going to click primary major vertical, and it's going to give me grid lines there. Change the fill color of the plot area to white. Okay, so I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to format this chart area. So they want the chart area, or the plot area, to be white. So we want the plot area to be white. Shape fill, white. And then change the fill color of the chart area. So let's go to the chart area, and we'll fill that with gold. So it matches. Matchy matchy. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Real similar. Okay. So it looks like we missed something over here with the cash flow. So let's just do the cash flow like the rest of them, just to get this done. So the chart area for the cash flow, is going to be the gold, right? And then the plot area is going to be white. And let's add some grid line, primary major grid lines for this one too. Primary major vertical grid lines here as well. Looks good to me. They all kind of match up at this point. That's kind of what I was after. I think I'm going to move this one up just a little bit. Whoop. And then I'm going to make this one go down just a little bit. So these bottoms of them kind of line up there just a little bit. Okay, so everything's kind of looking the same at this point. If you look at your image on page 232, pretty much look the same. The data should be close to the same. You might have a little bit more precision in what we've done versus what they've done, and that's fine. I'm fine either way. Really what I'm after is that your data is correct and that it looks halfway decent and that you don't have nothing would be misleading. Okay. Let's look here. All right, so what we're going to do is, okay, we're going to click on the chart element. We'll select the sales projection. We'll click the plus sign next to the combination chart for sales projections, and then we're going to click on the axis title checkbox to select it. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, so it puts this little axis title thingy there on the left and right. So that's the primary and the secondary axis. So these things are two different sets of data, and we'll need to keep them separate here, okay? So click on the left axis title to select it and then type net income. Okay. Net income. And then once you've typed that in there, oh, no, not enter, click somewhere else. Okay, so net income is on the left. And then once you have that left axis title selected, change the font color to orange, accent to darker 25%. So we want to change that font color to orange, accent to darker 25% theme color. I think that's it. No. Darker 25%. So it looks kind of at the bottom there. Doesn't really matter, but the idea here is that you can alter colors to make them look good. Select the right axis title. Whoop. And then we want to change this one and make it cases sold. Click off of it, click back onto it, and we want to do the same thing. So let's see if our little highlight the net income format painter cases sold thing. Whoop. Nope. Wrong one. Net income format painter cases sold. Yeah. All right. So we can carry that color over there that way as well. So change the orientation of the right axis title to rotate the text down. Okay. So we need to rotate the text down. Okay, so if we go to this section and we change it the other way, so in the alignment group you can see this kind of A, B with the arrow. That's the orientation. So we rotated it down. Select numbers on the right axis scale, so just the numbers, and then change the font color to blue, accent 1, darker 25%. So blue, accent 1, darker 25%. Down at the bottom, maybe. Okay. Okay, so we've got blue, accent 1, darker 25%, or something like it. And this line is colored the same as the text, which is nice, I guess. So you've got an axis title down here as well. And we can remove this so that it's got a little bit more room here. So if I click it once and I choose delete, it's going to shift that whole thing down, which kind of makes it look a little bit better. It spreads things out just a little bit. I'm going to save my work real quick. Bottom of page 233, modify the secondary axis scale. So double click the secondary axis scale to select it and open the format pane. So double click on the secondary axis pane. Okay, so that's the vertical value axis, and this is the secondary vertical axis. And that's the format. Okay. We want the axis options. Okay, so that's already showing up there. Click the minimum box. Okay. And change the value from 0, okay, from 0 to -4,000. And press the Enter key. So we kind of altered that just a little bit. Okay. So if we look at our picture on page 234, you should be able to see that yours looks similar to theirs. All right, so let's press the escape key to get out of that a couple times, whatever. Get out of that, whatever. Okay. Done, done. All right, I'm moving over onto page 235. So 235. create the line chart. So to go to the yearly gross income sheet and select the range BC, so here's another way you can do this, B4 colon C14. So I'm in the name, this is called the name box, and if I type that in there, it'll automatically highlight that whole thing for me, so I don't have to click and drag. That would have been a really easy one to click and drag on, but on the ribbon, click the Insert tab, click the chart in the Charts group, okay? Here's the Charts group. Click the Insert Line Chart button. So if you don't know which one it is, just hover over top of it until you find Insert Line Chart. There's the Insert Line Chart. We want the line with markers. Line? Stack line? 100%. Line with markers? Stack line with markers? 100% stack. Okay, this is the one. Line with markers. So there we go. We've got our line with markers. Edit the chart's data source. So we want to, on the Chart Tools Design tab, okay? So on the Chart Tools Design tab, at the very top, okay, click the Select Data button. Okay, so we want to select data. We're over here, Design tab, Select Data. It brings up a new box here, and we want to choose what's going to show up in here. So with the year selected, okay, so year is selected. In the list of legend entries, click the Remove button, okay? And click the Edit button on the right-hand side. And then select the range B5 through B14. So we can do it this way, B5 through B14. And then we can click this little red and blue little box right there. Press the OK button. Press the OK button. And then you should see something very similar to what you see in the picture on page 237. So your chart should be close to that. So ends in 2024, top number is 1,000,000, and then the bottom number is negative. Remember, negatives appear in parentheses in accounting, negative 400,000. So you've got a trend upwards for gross income. It's pretty typical with most businesses. Okay, Sparklines. If you've never heard of Sparklines, page 238 gives you a little bit of a briefer about Sparklines. I'm not going to go into detail about those. Sparklines, we'll build some here. You should have a clue about Sparklines. All right, so they don't want us to do anything else with that gross income. Okay, so we'll just leave that chart there. I'm on page 239. Insert column Sparklines showing a 10-year production plan in the Overview worksheet. So go to the Overview worksheet, and we want to select the range D29 through D34. D29 colon D34. Press Enter. It highlights all of that for me. I like that. Okay. On the Insert tab in the ribbon at the top, click Sparklines Group. So find the Sparklines group over here. Okay. Right there. We want to click on the Column button, and the data range box is selected there. Click the Estimated Production Sheet tab, okay? So we're in this box. We're going to go here, Estimated Production Sheet box. So we put a little bit of stuff in there, and then select the data in the range C6 through L11. So C6 through L11. You got to be precise about this. Okay? It enters all of that stuff for you. And once you do that, click OK. It takes you back to where you were, and voila! Look at that. So basically, you're creating a chart of this stuff here from data that's on a different page, which is pretty much what we've been doing all along. These are the sparklines, all right? So we want to set the scale of the vertical axis in the column sparkline. So if necessary, select, well, I already did it, D29 through D34, we already got it. We've got Sparkline Tools Design at the top, and on the Spark Tools Design tab, in the group, we're looking for group on the right-hand side, click the Axis button arrow. In that Axis button arrow, click the Custom Value at the bottom, and in the Custom Value, type in 3,500, 3,500, and then click OK, and look what happens. So it changes how those sparklines actually look. And that could be really helpful. And if you look at this, 3,500 is the top, and then the rest of them scale a little bit better having done that. So 241. To ungroup and format the column sparklines, make sure that the range D29 through D34 is still selected on the Design tab for the sparklines. In the group, what? Click the Ungroup button. And the sparklines are ungrouped, okay? And selecting any one of the sparklines will no longer select the whole group, okay? There is a reason for that. We probably won't get into it in this exercise, but click cell D30, to select it, and it's sparkline. So we've got one sparkline selected on the Design tab in the Style group. Design tab in the Style group right here. Click the Sparkline Color button right there. And then click the orange accent 2 theme color 6th row 5th column. 6th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th row 5th column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be that one. Okay, and if it's not, too bad. Click cell D31, okay, D31, and click the sparkline color and make it gray 50% accent 3. Okay, gray, where's gray? Probably gray is over here. That's white. That's gray. And we want this one to be maybe gray 50%. Chadoom. No. Not that one. Gray 50%. Okay. And this one wants to be accent 3. So I guess it's just that first one at the top. Okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Set the color of the sparkline in cell D32 to gold accent 4. Okay, whatever. Gold accent 4, that's 2. Gold accent 4. They're just showing off at this point with how much stuff you can do. Alright, so we've just got some different sparklines there. I don't think that that's actually super duper helpful, but these things kind of match up to what's up above, which I can kind of get, but whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. I don't think there's enough color there to really matter in these sparklines, but that's what a sparkline looks like, and that's basically how you get to make them. Page 242, add data bars to the proposed bottle prices. In the overview worksheet, so go to the so we're in the overview worksheet, select cells C38 through D34. So C38 through D34. C38 through D34, that is not that. C38 through D34, like that. No. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay, whatever. C38 through D43. Oh, that's funny. Okay. So I've got my selection made, and this is basically over here with the proposed bottle price retail. I'm just getting the actual values from the first and second labels. I'm skipping the names, and I'm not getting the column titles here. On the Home tab, okay, in the Styles group, so find the Styles group, click the Conditional Formatting, and then click on Data Bars, and then click on Blue Data Bar Style in the Gradient Fill section. Blue Data Bar. Click on that, and then click cell B. Well, just click somewhere else. Doesn't really matter. So it gets rid of all those things. I kind of like this, but whatever, they don't. So they're going to have you change it all up. So bottom of page 243. So you can look at the image on page 243 at the top to make sure yours looks similar to theirs, and it probably do. So select the range C38 through D43 containing all the data bars. On the Home tab, in the Styles group, over here, click the Conditional Formatting button, and then click on Manage Rules at the very bottom. This brings up the data bar here, okay? That's the one that we have. Make sure that the current selection has the right thing set. So we want to edit this rule, okay? And in the type arrow, okay, type right here. We want to click the maximum, okay? Whoops, not the minimum, but the maximum. And then click on number, right? So we're going to click on number. And then press the tab key and move the insertion point to the maximum box in the value. So the maximum box in the value. And that's going to need to be set at 35. So set that at 35. They know their data better than we do. If they made us figure all this out, it might take us a lot longer. So click the OK button. In the dialog box, select cell B44 in each of those dialog boxes. Okay, and then the lengths of the data bars are reduced, so you can, longest bar covers about 3/4 of, and that's that Pinot Noir, a $27 one. Okay. Page 245. We're going to insert a watermark. On the ribbon, click the Page Layout tab. And in the Page Setup group, Page Setup right here, click the this is a tricky part, Dialog Box Launcher. That's this little arrow right here. So Page Setup group is the group. Dialog Box Launcher is right there. Click the header and footer. Okay, we're going to go head and footer. Click the custom header. Click the center section. Click the insert picture button. So if you look at all these things, that's the insert picture button. And then I gave you, when you were working on this stuff, I'm going to go back here, and I need to get logged back in. So in the files that I shared with you, you should have, come on, you should have access to, in your folder of things that I shared with you, that draft.png file. And that's basically just an image file. So if I go to, this is where I happen to store all those files at. And if I go in here and in here, data files for the Excel tutorial, I'm going to download this one. And it's going to ask me where to put it. I'm going to say put it in the downloads, and I'll save that. I'll go back to my file, and header, custom header. Oh crap, it's over here. What have I done? Okay, so I've got my center section. I'm going to cancel this. And I'm going to cancel this. And I'm going to go back to page layout. I got kind of messed up there. And we're going to do this again. Page layout, dialog box launcher, header footer, custom header, center section, insert a picture, from a file. I'm going to browse. There it is. Okay. I put it in my downloads, and I'll bring date modified. There's my file. It says picture. I say OK, and when I choose that, it should add the print preview for my file. I'm going to go back in and do that one more time. So if I'm in this, in the header, so custom header, and I want to make sure that I've got this set up right. So I've got my insert picture. Okay, so what we want to do here, I've got my picture set up here, but I want to format the picture. And when I do that, I'm going to click the Picture tab up here in this format. I'm going to click the color box, and I want to choose Washout. And after I pick Washout, I'm going to click the OK button. And then I want to do OK. I want to do a print preview. So it's not necessarily going to show up in your Excel document when you're editing it, but it will show it as a draft here, which is good. Okay, I'm going to save my work. I'm all saved, and this is the file that you're going to upload to me. So put this file in the Connect website, and you should be good. Okay, so coming up will be the tutorial 5, where we're getting into the pivot tables. If you were thinking about doing the review assignment as well, you don't need to do that, although it might be helpful if you had a lot of trouble with this particular one. It's a little confusing with all the clickety-clickety stuff. I would say that there are more than one way to create these charts, graphs, sparklines, data bars, all that kind of jazz, but this gives you a really good introduction to it. So hopefully this is kind of helpful. It's a long, clicky kind of thing, but this covers all the things that you are going to need to know. So again, we're going to pick up on tutorial 5 next, where we're going to be working with Excel tables, and pivot charts, and that starts on the Excel page 257. All right, thanks.